tiene que ser, no podemos hacerlo en computadora.
Look, if you want to do it, if you want to do it using your computer, then you have to print it and then you have to paste it. Okay? Because all the information needs to be in your notebook and you have to show me when you're gonna take the picture or you're gonna scan it. It has to show that it is in your notebook. It has to show that it is pasted in your notebook. Okay?
El assessment.
The assessment and the vocabulary. Remember, so with this topic, we are starting topic number 5. Yes, we are going to include this one. We are going to include this one, okay? This one too. Are we clear? What's the joke, Higuero? What's the joke, Higuero? Why are you laughing? It's always, you're ready to what? To fight. You're ready to fight. Okay, let's watch then the video, guys. Let's watch the video. Let's watch the 3 videos and then I'm gonna ask you a question. Remember, if you answer correctly, then you're gonna earn 5 extra points that you may need it for the last test. Okay, where I think I have here it is. Okay, here it is. Let's begin with the that's gonna be the last one. Let's begin with this one. No, this is the last. That's gonna be the last one. This one. Let's begin with this one, guys.
The Free Enterprise System by Nate Langenfeld and Matt Pearsall. What is free enterprise?
A free enterprise system is an economic system where a government places few restrictions on the types of business activities in which citizens partake in. Citizens have the freedom to choose how they spend their money through voluntary transactions.
Key components: private property, free market, profit and loss, limited government.
Private property means that you are in control of the money that you earn. As you contribute labor, you earn a salary that allows you to do with it as you please. Once you own your property, you can do whatever you want with it as long as it is legal.
Abraham Lincoln once said that private property is the result of hard work. Milton Friedman states that in an ideal free market resting on private property, no individual can coerce any other. All cooperation is voluntary. All parties to such cooperation benefit or they need not to participate.
What Milton Friedman meant by this quote was that no one can force anyone to do anything against their will, all transactions are voluntary, and if a party is receiving little to no benefit, it doesn't have to agree to the transaction.
In the free market, there are 2 main points: flexible wages and prices and competition. Flexible wages and prices are not fixed by force, but are arrived through voluntary contracts and are allowed to adjust to changing conditions. In competition, it is the rivalry between sellers trying to increase profits and market shares.
If businesses can raise or lower prices, it ensures that resources are channeled into their most highly valued uses. For example, if a grocer is selling perishable items that will expire soon, they lower the price to increase the demand. If the price wasn't able to be lowered, the items would go bad and create no value. Any mechanism that reduces waste will contribute to the well-being of society. Competition within a free market means that consumers are able to choose where they get their items at a reasonable price. No business is entitled to you as a customer, and this creates a constant battle between businesses to create the most value and retain the most customers. This is a never-ending process, and it is hard for companies to maintain a competitive advantage.
As George Reisman said about competition, the truth is that economic competition is very opposite of competition in the animal kingdom. It is not a competition in the grabbing off of scarce, nature-given supplies as it is in the animal kingdom. Rather, it is a competition in the positive creation of new and additional wealth. The profit and loss system looks at whether or not a business is earning a profit or not. To earn a profit, a business must create value in their goods or services. To gain a profit, they must produce more revenue than expenses.
For example, if a company is making subs, they will need the bread, cheese, ham, turkey, other meats, lettuce, tomatoes, condiments, and the employees to create the finished product. The company will need to create enough value in the sub so they can sell it at a price that gives the company more revenue than the cost of the inputs to create it.
The role of a limited government in a free enterprise system should be stay cost-effective, use force for defense purposes only, and provide rules and regulations for how we act. Government should also not unnecessarily tax its workers and it should not abuse its power and provide comfort and safety to the individuals inside of it. Thomas Jefferson once said, "A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of the labor the bread it has earned. This is the sum of a good government."
As Thomas Jefferson stated, the government should be a defensive force that allows for free competition between individuals and businesses. The government should be a tool for people to use and not a tool to use against people. A limited government will allow pure competition in the market while protecting against monopolies. This provides the framework for a free enterprise system.
In review, we've learned that a free enterprise system is comprised of four main components. Private property provides the incentive to be productive because you are able to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. A free market allows there to be flexible wages and prices for goods, as well as competitions within businesses to attract customers. Profit and loss shows how a company is able to make revenue if they're able to keep their expenses down and drive profit up. Limited government provides the rules and regulations for which we operate in. Without a limited government, we wouldn't be able to have a free enterprise system.
Okay, now let's watch the second video, guys. No, this one. Let's watch this one first.
Story of free enterprise, from the dream of freedom to the freedom to dream. Throughout history, tyrants built empires by oppressing the individual. But in 1776, a group of men in a remote land dared to challenge a superpower and government control of trade. For the first time in human history, a government was founded that answered to the people. And when Americans were free to dream, prosperity followed in this new nation. In the land of opportunity, government regulators didn't decide what the future would look like. The entrepreneur did. Skylines from coast to coast are the lasting monument to the unsung visionaries who created better lives with nothing more than an idea and a passion to bring it to life. But the struggle for freedom never ends.
It is time for courageous action, and the Recovery Bill gives us the means to conquer unemployment.
A mismanaged recession became a depression. Freedoms traded for security, government favoring some businesses while attacking others. Just when it looked like it couldn't get worse, entrepreneurs and their families were asked to win a war.
The American people in their righteous might will win to absolute victory.
In the wake of victory, the size and scope of government continued to grow. Rules and regulations created uncertainty and anxiety. Entrepreneurs fought back. Free enterprise tried to survive. For a time, the courts protected the Constitution. But this new kind of big government could not be restrained. But the human spirit tasted freedom before, and no bureaucracy can stop the power to dream. Once again, big government is on the rise. And this time, their allies are not only in Washington.
This is why I say capitalism is such an immoral system.
You get the biggest bang for buck by actually having the government do something.
Why doesn't the president go in there, nationalize an industry, and get the job done for the people?
The calls for bigger government, greater regulation, and a heavier tax burden can be heard just about everywhere today. That's why free enterprise needs your help. Free enterprise is more than an idea. It's the reason for our nation's success. It turns ideas into jobs, and innovation turns into progress. It's the path toward future prosperity. The free men and women of America are the ones who will fuel our economic engine and build better lives for all of us. They need your help today.
And the last one, this one. Oh, no, this one, sorry.
In this third video from Lesson 1, we will explore the basic principles of the free enterprise system in order to understand how Gus and other entrepreneurs can flourish under a free economy. There are three elements of a free enterprise system that help us to understand how the system works and why liberty is the cornerstone of economic prosperity. The first principle is a free market economy. A free market economy is most notably a system consisting of two important components. The first is voluntary exchange between people who produce something and those who desire to consume what is produced. The key to this trading relationship is that it is freely and voluntarily entered into. The second key component of a free market economy is an unregulated price system. In a free economy, resources are allocated, that is, directed to particular needs and wants, based on prices, and prices ensure that all the resources in the economy are directed to their highest valued use. The second principle of a free enterprise system is that it is based on individual rights. In a free enterprise system, there is no separation of rights from one sphere to another. That is, free and voluntary exchange carries over to all areas of life, whether personal, economic, or in the political sphere. These rights are understood as part of the American founding that to be fully human is to have the freedom to pursue life, liberty, and property, as understood by John Locke. The final element of a free enterprise system is that the liberties discussed here apply to all people. The governing rules that exist apply to all people, and the primary purpose of government is to uphold these basic freedoms. This leads us to ask, what is the relationship between a free enterprise system and our democratic form of government? Again, we can answer this question by explaining the necessity of freedom in the political process. So the basic role of government is threefold. First, to uphold the freedoms and communicate the values inherent within a free society. Number two, to protect citizens from those who wish to violate these basic freedoms, which includes an impartial legal system and an honest police system. And finally, a limited government that protects the citizens but does not wield unchecked power to violate the individual freedoms of citizens. It is also important to consider how the free enterprise system works in conjunction with a free society in order to maintain a government that serves the people. There are 5 necessary conditions that are crucial for a properly functioning democratic government within a free society. The first is free and fair elections. All citizens must have the right to vote and the assurance that the voting process is fair and free of corruption. The second is a free organization of political parties. Parties that have the right to organize and advocate for certain ideological interests. Third, transparency and accountability of elected officials. Elected officials are citizens with the same rights and responsibilities as those who elect them. They are subject to the same laws and rules as ordinary voters. Fourth, the rights of citizens. As discussed earlier, all citizens have equal rights based on their human nature. No other criteria can negate an individual's rights, such as race, ethnicity, or gender. And finally, all citizens are subject to the rule of law, and all are protected from an arbitrary abuse of power without due process. Thus, in a free market economy, there is a strong relationship to freedom in all spheres and among all citizens, whether those interactions are economic or political. Governments are in place to protect and uphold these freedoms, and in so doing, society will function at the highest level possible. As American founder James Madison famously said, quote, "If men were angels, no government would be necessary," end quote. And this principle applies to all men, both ordinary citizens and the leaders elected by them. Rules and laws, what we call institutions in economics, are put in place that ensure freedom for all men, and these rules protect citizens from each other, but they also protect citizens from leaders that might be inclined to abuse their power.
Okay, now here comes the question, guys. Here come the questions. Let me stop this. Let me stop this. I'm gonna ask you a question now. If you give me an answer for this, you're gonna get 10 points, okay? For your next test, okay? If you give me the right answer. Okay? Now, do you think here in Panama we practice this enterprise system? Yes or not? What do you think? What do you think? Here in Panama, do we practice that system, enterprise system? Yes or not? What do you think? Monica, what do you think? According to you, just watch a video, 3 videos that talks about enterprise system. What do you think if here in Panama we practice that kind of system? Yes or not? What do you think, Jose? And Monica? Yes or not? ¿Qué diría Mónica? ¿Que sí o que no? Que no. O que sí. Que sí o que no, que caiga un chaparrón.
¿Sí?
Que tú pienses que sí, que ese sistema sí funciona, sí existe aquí en Panamá, tú dices. Enterprise, lo que tú acabas de ver un video de en qué consiste un enterprise system, ¿ya? ¿Qué tú piensas que aquí en Panamá, lo que tenemos aquí es un enterprise system aquí en Panamá, sí o no? No, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Ah? No sabes. Ok, listo. Ok, no, lo que pasa es que aquí en Panamá pareciera que existe un enterprise system, pero en realidad no funciona. ¿Por qué? Porque ahí dice en el video que el gobierno o ninguna institución debe intervenir en el momento que hay un conflicto en cuanto a precios. ¿Qué sucede aquí en Panamá? Cuando hay un conflicto tenemos una institución que se llama ACODEC. Ya comenzando por ahí, vemos que no existe entonces un free market o enterprise system, ¿ya? Porque hay alguien que viene a regular, a intervenir. Otra. Supone que un enterprise system no existe la corrupción. Sin embargo, aquí vemos que todos los días vemos que existen muchos tipos de corrupción en cuanto a los negocios, a los contratos que se dan. ¿Ve? Ahí van 2. 3. En un enterprise system, tú tienes que pagar los impuestos que tú has incurrido, los impuestos en que tú has incurrido. ¿Y qué sucede aquí? Muchos empresarios en Panamá, ¿qué es lo que hacen? Siempre quieren evadir el pagar el impuesto. En Estados Unidos, el no pagar los impuestos que tú tienes que pagar es un delito y te pueden meter preso. Aquí en Panamá no meten preso por eso. Entonces ya, solamente te he mencionado 3. Te he mencionado 3. De esos 3, te estoy diciendo que no existe, en realidad aquí no existe un enterprise system, ya, solamente con decirte esos 3. Ok, chicos, entonces ya vamos a suspender la clase porque veo que aquí todos se fueron y nada más quedaste tú y yo. Así que a ti te voy a dar los 5 puntos extras en el próximo test. Ok, porque te quedaste aquí conmigo. Así que entonces, nada más recuérdamelo, porque a mí se me olvida. Y el teacher, acuérdense que yo fui el único que me quedé aquí y entonces por eso me merezco los 5 puntos en el siguiente ejercicio. ¿Ya? Anda trabajando entonces los assessments y los vocabularios, ¿oíste? Porque saludame a tu mamá y tu papá y a Jason. Ya. Chao, nos vemos. Bye.